If you're wondering why there's no mention of me in the programme, as Julian also already alluded to, I didn't know I was going to be doing this either. They emailed me on Friday and it got spam filtered. I didn't see it till about 1 o'clock this afternoon. And I thought, well, I'm in town anyway, so okay. So I came in. Because for all that I am a comedian, I have now achieved total sense of humour failure where Brexit is concerned. I'm all out of yucks, folks. I've got nothing left. And I wouldn't mind, but nobody is even pretending it's a good idea anymore. Every conversation now is about damage limitation. I won't screw everything up. It'll just screw most things up. And even the things it screws up, we can probably unscrew in about 50 years. Oh, good! That's me and everybody in this room except Femi and the Scooby Gang dead then. And even that unflushable turd Farage has stopped pretending he's going to benefit anybody except himself. And we're talking about it like it's this asteroid of inevitability hurtling towards us, which we are powerless to avert or avoid, rather than a stupid thing we are choosing to do, and could indeed choose not to do. No, we can't choose not to do it. Because the people have spoken, and having spoken must now never speak again in case they've changed their minds. And the trouble with you smug metropolitan elite types is you don't respect democracy. I do respect democracy, but also know what democracy can and can't do. It can't bend time and space. If something is impossible, then it is still impossible, even if 52% of people say they want it. It would also be impossible if 100% of people said they wanted it. That's just how the universe works. Democracy is a reality. Reality is not a democracy. We want our unicorns. We voted for unicorns. The people have spoken. Now give us our unicorns, you saboteurs. And our everlasting gobstoppers and our hover boots. Oh, but Labour Brexit would be totally different because it won't be Tory, which is a bad thing. It'll be a Labour Brexit, which is a good thing because it won't be Tory. It'll be Labour. It'll be exactly the same bloody thing. If you shoot yourself in the head because you want to die, or if you shoot yourself in the head in an incredibly misguided attempt to get your wisdom teeth out, you're still end up with the back of your head off and your brains all over the ceiling. The country's going to burn to the ground every bit as fast as we're singing the Internationale while we slosh the petrol about, as if we're singing Real Chuffing Britannia. And Jeremy Corbyn is not bathed in a soft blue light and does not hover 2 inches above the ground as he walks. Just thought I'd lay that on you because it genuinely seems to be news to some people. Oh, and he lost. You all said he was going to lose. Yeah, he did. Yeah, but you nearly won. Yeah, there's a word for nearly winning. It's losing. Yeah, but like the fact that we nearly won proves it can win. No, it doesn't. It proves you can nearly win. Something nearly working doesn't prove that it works. It proves that it nearly works. Well, if we keep adding 49 to 50, eventually it'll make 100. Anyway, funnily enough, there's a reason I was in town when I finally saw the email from 3 days ago. So I was in town to pick up this. Yeah, last week I noticed with a sudden burst of panic that my passport expired today. So I did the whole one-day fast-track thing. I had to come in this morning. I was still waiting to go and get it when I found the email. There it is. It's my new one. It's a British passport, unlike Nigel Farage's new one, which is German. It's true. It's also a European passport, European Union passport. And it's supposed to last 10 years, which means this single most unflattering photo of me has ever been taken is going to be peering at me on an occasional basis till I'm pushing 60. But anyway, there you go. But of course, it's not going to last 10 years. Because as it stands, at some point between the next 1 and 3 years, most of the things that this document entitles me to are going to be taken away from me. And it boils my piss that my 2 young daughters are going to be denied most of the rights that I took for granted when I was a student and I traveled all over Europe, lived in France, lived in Spain, did languages at university. That's been taken away from them. And by what possible right is that being taken away from them? There's a convention enshrined in American law. Not so much in British law, because Britain, as you know, doesn't really have a constitution, just a kind of an unspoken agreement with itself that there's certain things a chap simply doesn't do. But there's a convention in American law that while representative democracy is the best way to run the government, there are certain things you don't put to a popular vote. Specifically, other people's civil rights. The principle is you do not empower the majority to disempower the minority. Lincoln had put the 13th Amendment to a popular vote back in 1865. We'd probably still have slavery. If Lyndon B. Johnson had put the civil rights movement to a popular vote back in the 60s, we'd probably still have Jim Crow and lynchings. Black people still being officially prevented from voting rather than unofficially like they are now with voter ID laws. But there you go. But here's the thing. I don't think anybody had the right to do that to us. I don't think anybody had the right to take those freedoms away from me. I don't think anybody had the right to take them away from my kids. And they sure as hell did not have the right to take them away from you. And we should remind them of that. Because here's the thing. It's not too late. We've heard it. It's too late. It's not. So Brexit is not a done deal. There are two things that define a done deal. One, that it's irrevocable, and two, is that it's already happened. Brexit is neither of those things, as it stands right now. And by way of inspiration, I'd say, look again to the United States, not at the clown card of an administration they've got right now, but at the response to it and the effect it's having. The Republicans currently own every branch of the American government. They've got the White House, they've got the Senate, they've got Congress, and through sheer cheating, they've also got the Supreme Court at the moment. And yet, with the sole exception of that bloody great tax cut, which, let's face it, is the only thing Republicans actually care about anyway, in 14 months, they haven't managed to get a damn thing done. Including all the stuff that was going to be a slam dunk. Repeal and replace Obamacare. That was the first thing they were going to do. They owned the entire legislation. Couldn't get it done. They were going to peel back abortion rights to 20 weeks. The only thing the entire American conservative movement unites around is anti-abortion. They couldn't get that together either. And why is that? It's because protest works. Anger works. Persistence works. Hanging around outside people's offices and telling them that we will not forget who stuck up for us and who sold us out. It works. And we have a massive advantage here. We have a massive advantage over the Leavers. And it's that we're right and they're wrong. It's surprisingly easy to win an argument when you're right. It's weirdly difficult to win one when you're wrong. And let's face it, they only won 18 months ago by lying and cheating, as is now being exposed in grand style. So here's the thing. Peter's got his march. We got the newspaper. You've got an MP. Maybe they're one of the reasonable ones. Maybe they're not. But they've got an email address, and it wouldn't take you a second to find out what it was. And they've got an address. And if they're any bloody good, they do constituency surgeries, and you can find out when those are. Don't stop this. Don't give up. Don't let this happen. Don't roll over. And don't leave it all at the Femi and the Teen Titans, awesome though they are, all right? They can't do this on their own. Oh, and by the way, my 77-year-old staunch Remainer mum would like to point out, hashtag not all old people. Right, well, I don't know about you, but I've got a column to write, and I'm missing the Walking Dead for this, you bastards. Thank you. Thanks very much to Julianne for asking me to do this. Resist. See you soon.